I'm a beta mercenary. To make extra money, I also take private gigs. After one night, the client said I was too addictive, then angrily booked me for 100 sessions. Is that supposed to be a compliment, or is he messing with me? 1. I'm a mercenary, but a beta. Although alphas tend to look down on us betas, I'm actually a hot commodity among omegas. So when a headhunter reached out to me again, I figured some omega must have gotten bullied and wanted me to get revenge. But the headhunter shook his head. This time, it's an alpha requesting a private session with you. An alpha? Come on. Everyone knows I have a terrible reputation among alphas. Whenever I'm in the same room as an alpha, omegas naturally gravitate toward me, which makes most alphas see me as a threat. The client specifically asked for an A-rank mercenary, and it has to be a beta. You're the only one on Blue Star who fits the bill. The headhunter lowered his voice. Complete the job, and you get 100,000 credits. How much? I've risked my life hunting monster hordes outside the city on A-rank missions, and that only pays 8,000 credits. I couldn't help but suspect. Is this alpha someone who got dumped by an omega and wants to lure me in to beat me up? Honestly, there are so many omegas who've broken off engagements because of me. They could form a line from the east end of the city to the west. Some of their ex-fiancés are probably rich as hell. The headhunter shrugged. You might be right. So, are you taking it or not? I'll take it. I didn't have a choice. He was offering too much. My younger brother is still in the ICU. Just one day of hospital care costs 10,000 credits. I'm desperate. Right before I left, the headhunter reminded me, freshen up a bit before you go. What? You want me to look good for a beating? So I went home, shaved, washed my hair, swapped out the combat bodysuit I usually wear for missions, and put on some casual clothes, easy access to the waist and abdomen. No need for the client to undress me piece by piece. If I was getting punched, might as well make it efficient. Once I was ready, I headed out. The alpha client was seriously loaded. He was staying in a presidential suite that costs 888 credits a night. A top-tier alpha bodyguard personally escorted me to the door and even opened it for me. It was the first time an alpha had treated me so politely. I was honestly not used to it. I was just about to thank him, but the door shut behind me, and a chill ran down my back. I turned around, and the moment I saw the man sitting on the couch, my brain completely froze. Isn't that Colonel Michael, the man who's conquered half the galaxy and appears in the dreams of practically every omega out there? No wonder the headhunter made me sign a non-disclosure agreement. Michael in person looked even sharper than on screen. His presence was like a blade. You could get cut just by meeting his gaze. Word is, he can take down an S-rank monster with a single punch. If he hits me, am I even gonna survive? Michael spoke in a slow, deep voice. Come here. Whatever. I was already here. I walked right up to him, closed my eyes, lifted my shirt like a man walking to his doom. I didn't bring any armor. If you want to hit me, just do it. So eager? He asked. I nodded. Yeah, so let's get straight to the point. I think I saw the corner of his mouth twitch in a smile. Then, the calloused pads of his fingers pressed against my waist, and slowly moved up, playing with the two. I was so embarrassed I wanted to die. I couldn't help but urge, can you hurry up? His voice dropped even lower. I could feel his breath against my skin. How fast do you want it? The faster, the better. Then he pulled down my pants. What the hell? A high-ranking colonel likes beating people naked? What kind of twisted taste is that? But I waited. No punches came. No whip either. Instead, something entered me. What are you doing? Doing you. I was completely thrown off. Weren't you going to beat me up? I'm not a prostitute. And why would someone like Michael, a prime alpha, want me? He didn't seem disgusted. He actually looked like he wanted me. I didn't get it. He was right at the edge, and then suddenly stopped. His hot breath spilling across my chest. You really don't sell? I looked down at his muscular body under the robe and hesitated. You'd have to pay more. 200,000 credits. That generous? I paused for 2 seconds, and he immediately upped it. 500,000. Deal. Man, when someone like that wants something, they'll pay anything. Michael pinned me beneath him. Now that you've agreed, I'm not giving you a chance to change your mind. 2. I didn't sleep a wink all night. Even someone as tough as me nearly collapsed when I got out of bed in the morning. The back of my neck was covered in layers of dried saliva and bite marks. My hands were trembling as I buttoned up my shirt. As soon as I confirmed the 500,000 had hit my account, I fled the presidential suite like my life depended on it. On the way out, I passed a few alphas. They all gave me a wide berth, muttering complaints. Even a top-tier alpha shouldn't be walking around the streets drenched in pheromones. It's brutal for our self-esteem. I wanted to explain, but how was I supposed to say it? That I'd been marinated in the pheromones of a premium alpha the entire night? Aren't alphas only supposed to release that much scent when they're with someone they want to claim? I took a cab to the hospital, paid my brother's medical fees for the next month, and told the nurse, give him the best meds. Oh, and how much would a prosthetic cost? The cheap ones start at $1 million. The better ones go for 3. And Lucas, don't forget, you still owe $5 million for the surgery. Yeah, in a hospital, money disappears like air. I was about to hit up my agent for more work when someone added me as a contact on my neural comm. It was Michael. My first thought was that maybe after sleeping it off, he was trying to ghost me, but he only asked, why weren't you there when I woke up? I scratched my head, unsure how to respond. I'm at the hospital, visiting my brother. I see. I was just about to put my comm away when he messaged again. How can I book you again? You still want to hire me? Yes, I still want to. Don't alphas usually go for soft, sweet-smelling omegas? I'm just a plain, dry beta. But, he paid so much. One night of getting laid, hell, that's easier than fighting monsters outside the city. Just, a bit rough on the butt. Same rate as last night, just send the money. Michael, is there a limit on how many times? Nope. Okay, give me a moment. He was oddly polite. 10 minutes later, my account lit up with 50 million credits. 50 million for 50 nights. I took back what I said about him being polite. I replied, trying to be tactful. You were really, over the top last night. My lower back still hurts. Michael, I have a doctor at home. Come over. Let me have them take a look. I tried another excuse. I need to look after my brother. Michael, transfer him to the military hospital. I'll assign him a private nurse. It felt like he was cutting off all my escape routes. So, I'll come over tonight? Yes, I'll be waiting. Something felt off. I couldn't quite put my finger on it. That night, I dragged myself over to Michael's fancy villa. He didn't even mention my lateness. Dinner was luxurious, and he'd already arranged the hospital transfer for my brother. I had no real reason to say no. The only issue was how unrestrained he was at night. I couldn't even stand straight during the day. Yet Michael could still get up early for his meetings at the military base. I asked curiously, are all alphas like this? I've fought close to 1,000 alphas, and none of them had stamina like his. Michael paused while buttoning up his shirt. No, I'm sick. Sick. Pheromone disorder. If an omega gets too close, they get overwhelmed or even hurt, so I can only be with betas. But most betas can't handle me. You're the only one who can. The only what? So I was just his treatment tool? Nope. This wasn't gonna work. I couldn't tie myself to one client. I quickly contacted my agent. He happened to be looking for me, too. There's a big job. The client's an omega. Specifically requested a beta mercenary. No alphas allowed. It's tailor-made for you. Omega clients aren't always easy. His name is Daniel. Yeah, that Daniel you're always going on about. I'll take it. To prep for the mission, I trained in Michael's virtual combat simulator during the day and dodged his requests at night. The doctor told me to rest. He didn't push. Was I too rough yesterday? I'll apply the ointment for you. No need. I clutched my sore butt and moved into the guest room. Thankfully, Michael had to go on a business trip, so we each got 3 days of peace. 3 days later, I arrived outside Daniel's interstellar ship. As I looked at that clean-cut, refined young man, my heart fluttered. I stepped forward to greet him, when a cold voice cut through the air behind me. You healed your ass just in time to show it to an Omega? 3. Why was my luck always this bad? The one time I took a side gig, I got caught by my main client. Daniel didn't flinch under Michael's pressure. He stood in front of me protectively and said, I paid for this bodyguard. Even if you're my fiancé, that doesn't give you the right to interfere. I froze for a second. Then it all made sense. Daniel was a top-tier Omega, and a biology PhD at that. Michael was a federal colonel, with an 80% pheromone compatibility score. It was no surprise they were set to marry. Michael must have lost control of his pheromones again. I couldn't smell anything, but the Omegas nearby were clearly affected. Daniel clutched his nose and collapsed into my arms. I scolded Michael, can't you control your scent? I carried Daniel back to his ship and stayed by his side. When we stopped at a supply station and I saw the frenzied alphas outside, I suddenly remembered, Michael was sick. After hesitating for a moment, I decided to sneak into his room to check on him. The second I walked in, he twisted my arms behind my back and shoved me against the door. Took you long enough. Ignoring my messages, he messaged me. I opened my comm and saw a wall of texts. What's your relationship with Daniel? Weren't you not taking outside jobs anymore? He calls, and you run. I'm not mad, just asking. Why won't you reply? Feeling guilty? 2 minutes later. I know Omega's like you, even if you are involved with him. It's fine, just tell me you're coming back after this job. 1 minute later. It's not like I chose this pheromone disorder. If you need an apology, I'll give it, anytime. 3 minutes later. What are you and Daniel doing right now? I turned around and punched him. Isn't Daniel your fiancé? Michael caught my fist. I rejected the engagement. I was stunned. Why? He's too weak. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Daniel is brilliant, beautiful, kind, and sharp, and you call him weak? Michael sneered. You like him? Should I help you marry into his family? I went quiet. I knew the difference between admiration and attraction. Daniel was an Omega who clawed his way out of desperation to become the top biologist on Blue Star. I admired him. And I'm just a mercenary drifting through the stars. I could never offer an Omega a future, but Michael seemed to take that the wrong way. He loosened his grip on my fist. I can give you a future. He stepped closer, and something was poking me. What's going on with you? I'm having an episode. Michael knew my body too well, but this really wasn't the time. I can use my hand. Okay. Michael didn't stop me. Soon enough, my hand was sparking like flint, and his broad chest boxed me in. His breath was getting heavier. I was getting hooked again. Damn muscle memory, Michael whispered in my ear. The scanners showed no monsters nearby. Nothing tomorrow either. You can relax for a day. That relaxation led to his hand sliding down to my waist. I was about to give in, when Daniel's voice shouted from outside the room. Monster, don't come any closer. I immediately dropped little Michael and rushed out the door. 4. We were scouting a high-risk zone, monsters at level A and above, and I was struggling to handle them, so I could only run around with Daniel trying to stay alive. I could take down 1 level A monster per minute, but more kept showing up, including some level S beasts. Michael's squad wiped out the level A monsters with ease but had no answer for the S-level ones. Just as an S-level creature swung its massive, tree-trunk-thick tail toward Daniel, I reacted fast and shoved him out of the way, preparing to block the blow myself. But a hand beat me to it, catching the monster's tail mid-swing. The palm left a huge print on the scaly surface. Stay where you are. Michael said just that, then dove straight into the fight. Sparks exploded across the skyline one by one. Through the smoke, you could barely make out a figure moving lightning fast, slaughtering monsters. His team looked at each other nervously. Why does it feel like the colonel's off his game today? Michael finished the fight in 10 minutes flat. As I watched him in the fading firelight, I was about to say something when Daniel ran up and hugged him. You've got S-level monster blood and marrow on you. What a waste. Let me collect some. Turns out Daniel wasn't hugging him out of worry. I chuckled and felt a slow wave of relief wash over me. Relief for what? Exactly. Why was I relieved? I pushed the thought away. Having learned my lesson, I cut off all close contact with Michael. He said nothing, just kept killing monsters. 3 days later, the mission finally ended. Daniel said goodbye. Michael was too efficient this time. We have to part ways so soon. I softened my tone and smiled. If there's another job, just call me anytime. I turned and caught Michael's dark expression. That night, he kept me up wrestling with him all night. It was nothing short of torture. 2 days later, he left for a noble's banquet and finally gave me a break. When he left, I left with him. Privately, I asked my agent, is everything ready? The agent sighed. You're really going? That's a suicide mission. Revenge isn't done like this. My brother, an Omega, had been forced and beaten by an Alpha so badly that his glands were damaged, and he was now disabled and in ICU. During this time, I'd been desperately taking jobs and building contacts. Finally, I had a chance to infiltrate the banquet where those scumbags gathered. Why wouldn't I go? Security checked me at the door. I showed the invitation Daniel gave me. After they let me in, I wandered through the banquet, looking for my enemy. No luck finding him. But suddenly, I felt a gun pressed against my waist. It was an S-level military rifle. A guard demanded, "Who are you? How did you get into this banquet?" I was thinking whether to grab the gun or run, when I spotted Michael, being praised by the crowd. His uniform looked sharp on his tall, 1.9-meter frame. His expression was unreadable, but he stood out like a monster among the people. I didn't hesitate. I called out, "Colonel, someone's bullying me." Michael's frosty face froze when he saw me. Then he ignored the nobles fawning over him and strode over. Who's this blind fool? The guard's hand trembled, his bravado vanished, and he immediately bowed apologetically. Sorry, Colonel, Michael expertly draped his arm around my waist, ignoring everyone's stares, and led me upstairs. He kicked open a room, shoved me inside, and yanked open my suit jacket. Underneath was a tight-fitting vest that outlined my waist and chest perfectly. It was clearly mercenary gear for missions. He ran a finger along the edge of my vest. I thought he'd found something, but he just asked, "Where are you hurt? Let me see." I hesitated, then stopped his probing fingers. "I'm fine. It's just using me as an excuse." He seemed to sense my dishonesty. His face darkened instantly. He pushed me onto the table and pulled a belt from his waist. "Bend over." 5. My first instinct was to refuse. Doing stuff like this at home was one thing, but this was a banquet organized by the Queen herself. How dare he be so bold? I softened my tone and rubbed the calluses on my fingertips against the thick skin on his palm. "I admit I was wrong. Please don't do this." He rolled the belt over my butterfly bones, where the vest clung tight. "How did you get in?" I told the truth. It wasn't the time or place to lie. "Got paid by Professor Daniel." Michael sneered through his nose. "Do you know who this banquet is for?" I muttered. "The Queen's celebration dinner." "Then why are you still begging Daniel? What does he have to do with this banquet?" I could feel a blazing anger burning inside Michael's chest. Why was he so mad? What was there to be mad about? I was still getting paid for jobs, wasn't I? "You don't have anything to say?" He lifted my chin with the belt. I blinked, confused, and answered honestly, "No." "Good, very good." I thought he was about to hit me, and he did. Just not the way I expected. I still don't understand how such a serious federal colonel could have so many tricks up his sleeve. My vest was ruined, and I had to hide his stuff. Michael was about to flip me over and continue when his bodyguard knocked on the door. "Colonel, the Queen is summoning you." Michael finally helped me pull my pants up, but then he used the belt to tie me to the table. "I'll finish this when I get back." Finish? This illness of his really lasted forever. Before leaving, Michael even assigned someone to guard the room. How afraid was he that I'd run? Well, I really did run. I'm an A-level mercenary. After all, picking locks is easy for me, especially when all that's holding me is a belt. I carefully pried open the window without making a sound. For some reason, this room Michael brought me to had a perfect view of the enemy I was looking for. An alpha noble who had ruined my brother's life but only got a month's sentence before being released. I took off my suit and removed the seemingly delicate decorations from the shoulders, waist, elbows, and knees of my vest. In 2 minutes, I assembled them into a specially modified mini pistol. I jumped out the window. With the decadent music blaring at the banquet, I fired 2 bullets into the noble alpha's calf, one grazing his glands. He had crippled my brother's legs and glands, now I crippled his. The silent gun made no noise piercing flesh. It was the noble alpha's agonized scream that set off the chaos. I tried to slip out with the crowd, but the federal guards were faster than I thought. Within 3 minutes, they had locked onto me. I didn't run. I let the gun press against my head. "Drop your weapon and surrender immediately." I dropped the gun. They probably didn't expect their assassin, openly targeting a noble at such an important event, to comply so easily. Confirm the assassin is no longer a threat and immediately imprison them in the federal penitentiary. My hands were cuffed, but I smirked. This was exactly what I wanted, because inside that federal prison were the other 3 scumbags who hurt my brother. I would make them pay, one by one. 6. Before being locked up, I was thoroughly searched. Not a single hair or fingernail was missed. Only after confirming I carried no weapons did they put me inside. But they forgot, I still had my fists. Because my crimes were serious, I was thrown into the highest security prisoner block. There's a hierarchy among inmates. I was a commoner, so heavy shackles were locked on both my hands and feet. Meanwhile, the other 3 alpha convicts, being nobles, didn't even need sensory shackles and enjoyed guards attending to them in private rooms. I glanced up from the bottom tier, locking eyes with the 3 of them. They burst into laughter immediately. "A beta actually dares glare at us. Must be tired of living. Ha!" They casually pointed at me. "The human punching bag for tonight, let's pick him." The other prisoners sighed in relief. When the guards tied me up and brought me before them, I showed no fear, just twisted my neck and stretched my body. The ropes fell off. Instead of surprise, the 3 looked pleased. "All right, you've got some skills after all." I smiled. "Oh, more than some." One punch to their faces made their bones cave in instantly. I stripped the secret buttons from their belts and sliced across their femoral arteries. I stepped on Henry's broken leg bone. He stepped on me too. One tattooed Henry with a knife. He tattooed me too. 2. One dug into Henry's glands. He dug into me too. 3. The three screamed and writhed in pain on the floor. What grudge do you have against us? Why treat us like this? The prison door opened, and guards outside looked stunned. What's going on? All three pointed at me. He did this. I was put into solitary confinement for 3 months, but the next day, I was released. Those 3 alphas just couldn't wait. One was in a wheelchair, one wore a neck rehab device, and the third was bedridden with a ventilator. Even injured like that, they still came to show off in front of me. Hey, Lucas, you here for your brother's revenge? I looked up. You didn't say a word, just started fighting. I worked hard to find out who your brother was. If you'd told me yesterday, maybe I'd remember. Henry, the Omega, fought back all along. I clenched my fists. Immediately, they ducked behind guards and bodyguards. Lucas, today's your death day. I hired A-level alpha mercenaries. A-level alpha mercenaries? They must not know how hard it is for a beta like me to level up compared to alphas in this alpha-favored world. I had stomped on the faces of countless A-level alpha mercenaries to become the only A-level beta mercenary. 10 minutes later, the 3 noble alphas looked dazed watching mercenaries beaten to the ground. Then my fists and feet landed again. While taking hits, they warned, Lucas, you powerless beta, what good is your temper? Aren't you afraid of our family's revenge? We're relatives of the Queen's nephew's niece's aunt. We've got powerful backing, you better think twice. Before they finished, the door was kicked open from outside. The 3, faces swollen like pigs, were overjoyed. Must be our parents sending help. Bright light poured in. They squinted to see the tall legs and the single 5-star colonel insignia on a military uniform's shoulder. No way, are our parents that powerful? They even called in Colonel Michael of the Federation. I paused my assault. The 3 thought I was scared and laughed arrogantly. Lucas, today is your death day. Michael didn't glance at the 3 beaten men on the ground. He put his hand on my shoulder, standing behind me. His broad shoulders shielded me from the outside storm. He looked down slightly, staring down the 3. You say he has no backing. I am his backing. 7. Inside the warden's office, I stood in prison clothes waiting for instructions. Out of the corner of my eye, Michael flipped through my criminal record, but his eyes stayed fixed on one page. After hesitating, I spoke first. Those 3 will be out in 2 days. If I don't take care of them before then, I'll lose the chance forever. He seemed to expect this and quickly responded. So you're risking it all yourself? Not too dangerous. Also, so I don't trouble you. After all, you only see me as a treatment tool. Even if not me, someone else will do. He cut me off. What kind of treatment? You said before your information sent is too strong for Omegas. You can only be with betas. I'm the only beta you've been with this long. His brow furrowed deeper, amused and frustrated. When have I slept with a beta? I only spar with betas since they don't smell my scent and don't get restless. I was stunned. Isn't that sleeping? Then why sleep with me? What do you think? Michael's mouth naturally drooped downward, more than usual today. I guessed. Trying something new. Training alone isn't enough anymore. You want to make me your new therapy experiment. Michael stood and closed the distance, pushing me against the wall. Is that what you really think? Am I that reserved normally? For the first time, I stared into Michael's deep blue eyes, vast and stormy. The world isn't fair. Alphas are naturally swift, strong, and privileged. Omegas and betas are inherently weaker. Betas often get overlooked. So I never expected anyone to really notice me. But right now, he was watching me. My Adam's apple bobbed as I asked cautiously, "Are you pitying me?" He shook his head slightly. "No, I'm loving you." Among adults, some understandings don't need words. Michael turned off the cameras in the warden's office. The monitor went black for a long time before he helped me. Legs tangled, out the door. I tried to smooth out the folds on my prison clothes. "Colonel, can we make the next one easier? This is way too hard." Michael pinched the back of my neck. "If you want shortcuts, alright then. I'll try not to take the long route next time. Since Michael insists on tying us together, I won't waste the chance." He mentioned having an inspection duty at the prison. After his inspection, when he returned to his quarters, I popped my head out from under the covers. "Hi, I'm taking the shortcut now." Almost sleepless all night. The next day, still drowsy, Michael dragged me out of prison. I sat on the starship, watching the prison gate fade away. I was amazed. This shortcut was way too fast. "Don't you need to inform the Federation?" Michael played with me, satisfied. "I have a veto." I guess I really started taking shortcuts too late. The ship's destination wasn't home but the military hospital. The moment I was taken into the ward, I covered my mouth in shock. Tears welled up instantly. Henry, with pulverized fractures in both legs, was actually standing. He noticed me and smiled. Bro. I rushed to hug him but was pushed away by Daniel. Daniel pinched his nose, clearly disgusted. Lucas, why do you smell like alpha pheromones? Are you an A pretending to be B? I quickly explained. That's Michael's scent, not mine. I'm a genuine beta. I take jobs honestly. Daniel seemed to understand something and threw Michael a resentful look. Is Lucas the only beta in the world? Couldn't you pick someone else? Why him? Michael openly put his arm around my shoulders. My eyes only see this one beta. Damn. I thought I misheard. Professor Daniel swore. Henry was practicing walking but stumbled and fell. Daniel caught him just in time. I wanted to talk to my brother but Daniel kicked me out. Daniel's mood changed sharply. He was strict and serious. Henry's glands are damaged. He can't tolerate even a trace of alpha pheromones. Lucas, if you come next time, come clean. Then he kindly told Henry some precautions. I wondered, had Daniel always been like this? Why didn't I notice before? Outside the ward, Michael looked down. Sorry I made you unwanted. Actually, Daniel's always been picky and critical of me. I realized Michael had suffered a lot when I couldn't see it. I hugged him. Colonel, you're already doing great. Then comfort me well tonight. Something about this felt off. Though, 8. Half a month later, the 4 noble alpha who crippled my brother were brought before a military tribunal to face trial. The entire process was broadcast live, proving the trial's fairness, justice, and transparency. Alpha abusing Omega is considered a very serious crime, but those 4 had connections. They not only escaped punishment before but treated the Federation prison like a vacation resort. Sorry, this time I had backing too. Michael thoroughly investigated corruption inside the prison, clearing out many deadweight parasites at once and gathering plenty of evidence. Daniel also worked with the military hospital to provide a medical report confirming the truth of Henry's injuries. With a Federation colonel and a top-level doctor vouching, the 4 were severely sentenced to death. This was a warning to all Alpha across the galaxy. Although Omegas are physically weaker, their intelligence far exceeds Betas, and they remain crucial for reproduction. Hurting an Omega deserves severe punishment. Henry's eyes reddened with emotion as he threw himself into Daniel's arms, repeatedly saying thanks. Wait, why was he throwing himself into Daniel's arms? I'm the brother, in the audience, not a witness. After this galaxy-wide trial, Daniel pushed Henry back to the military hospital in his wheelchair, not letting me, his actual brother, get involved. You really don't want me to go with you? I asked. Henry shook his head. Brother, don't let revenge consume you. You need to live your own life now. He'd rather be stuck with Daniel than trouble me, which was frustrating. Also, I've decided to retake the entrance exam, aiming for Daniel's academy. I'm already studying with him ahead of time. Alright then, when Omegas get smart, Betas like us really don't matter anymore. No sooner had they left than the special plane Michael sent arrived. The colonel said, "You're booking the restaurant again today." I flipped through the star map on the S-class starship, feeling it was overkill for just finding a restaurant. My thoughts drifted back to that day in the prison office. That day, we'd spent a long time tossing and turning, and talked a lot. I asked him, what is there about me to like? Michael's fingertip traced the scars on my back. 3 years ago, the Federation army was searching a mysterious planet for rare medicine. A thick, troublesome fog separated us. I got lost and bumped into someone wrapped in a tight-fitting suit covering his face. We fought side by side for 3 days and nights, then parted ways. I regretted not having a proper fight with him, so when I returned to Earth, I searched everywhere for him. He had no scent of any pheromone. Whatever scent I gave him, he took it. He's a beta. I hadn't expected Michael to remember something from 3 years ago. I'd struggled through so many years and met so many people, but Michael stood out and was easy to recognize. I knew the military naturally distrusted mercenaries like us, so I hid my identity carefully. You only sought me out for a fight? Michael was silent for a moment. That was the plan. But after seeing you, I changed my mind. Fighting isn't enough anymore. I want to have you from head to toe, inside and out. A notification sound pulled me from my memories. I thought it was Michael finishing a meeting and messaging me, but it was from Daniel. The Queen wants Michael to enter a political marriage. The candidate is Prince David of the Oko Star royal family, an exceptional Omega whose pheromone compatibility with Michael is 90%. It's known that an AO compatibility over 60% is already very harmonious. What kind of closeness is 90%? I couldn't even imagine. I didn't even know what Michael's pheromone smelled like. Others said it smelled like gin, bitter and restless. I had a glass of gin in my mouth, tracing over the map but still hadn't picked a restaurant. A hand reached behind me and made the decision for me. You've been staring at this restaurant for a while, hesitating over the price? Don't try to save money on me. Michael looked normal except for a slightly dirty shirt tail. I wasn't one to stay calm. That Omega, is he going to replace me as the owner of this ship soon? What Omega? He was choosing dishes but glanced at me when I spoke. Oh, that one from Oko Star? I rejected him, just a defeated star, trying to arrange a marriage? What a joke. The emotion gripping my heart suddenly released. I realized I had underestimated his love. What he wanted wasn't an Omega, no matter how compatible. He wanted me, just me. 9. David's appearance didn't affect our relationship in the slightest, but for some reason, many fans online shipped Michael and David as a perfect pair, calling them a rare, high-compatibility couple who might even achieve soul resonance. I didn't care, yet my neural implant received an invitation from David. Lucas, do you remember me? He sent his ID and photo. I was your Omega client before, but you were too mysterious. I couldn't uncover your real identity until I came to Earth and saw you on Michael's ship. I remembered him. My brother was a top student with hopes for a Federation university, but tuition was expensive, so I took on many missions for a while. David was one of my clients. I remembered him because he was unusual. An Omega. His first task for me was to assassinate his alpha eldest brother. After sending him the death photo of his brother, he got excited and sent me info on his second brother. Kill him too. Was he trying to wipe out his whole family? I'll pay triple. For the money. I sneaked into the second prince's room at night, but after thorough investigation, I found no evidence against him. He was the kindest ruler I'd ever seen. Though I'm motivated by money, I have a bottom line. I don't kill good people. Henry learned truth, kindness, and beauty at school. I, as his brother, should set an example. So I only incapacitated the second prince. That dropped my mission success rate from 100% to 99%. Luckily, David didn't blame me. Instead, he hugged me tightly. How about you come with me? When I ascend the throne, I'll make you my prince consort. I pushed him away immediately, thinking that'd be a different price. Sorry, I can't promise any Omega a future. For 2 whole years, David kept searching for me. I couldn't help but ask, so your reason for coming to Earth isn't marriage? David's voice was proud. I'm very pleased with both you and Colonel Michael. I plan to pick one of you as my future prince consort, and of course, I prefer you. Waiting for your reply. I didn't get to answer David, because the next day Michael publicly announced our relationship to the entire Federation. Omegas and Alphas across the galaxy were shattered. Alphas wailed, why does such an excellent Alpha fall for the very rival of all our Alphas? Has the Colonel gone blind? Omegas cried, my goodness, my ancestors, my coat, my clothes, my father, my grandfather, how can my beloved Alpha husband and my beloved Beta husband be together? I don't believe it. The world must be crazy. David went mad, bombarding us with messages. Michael blocked him, so he never got through. But I don't block clients. Are you too crazy? One Alpha with pheromone disorder who needs Omega pheromones to calm down, and one Beta who can't smell pheromones. How can you survive together? You even used that trick to resist marrying me. Don't blame me for being rude. How could he not be rude? Before I could think further, Michael pulled me back into his embrace. Distracted? Am I not trying hard enough? No. If you try harder, I'll just collapse on the bed. 3 days later, Michael took me to the Queen's banquet. I'm just introducing you to some people. Don't be nervous. I wasn't nervous yet, but the other Federation ministers seemed more tense than me. I recognized several familiar faces, former clients of mine. Betas may not be as strong as Alphas or as quick-witted as Omegas, but Betas leave no pheromone traces on missions, making us ideal assassins. So many had hired me. The nervous ones should be those ministers. If they accidentally anger me, I could submit their evidence to the military tribunal, and wouldn't they be out of a job? When Michael and I arrived, the Federation remained silent, except David, who kept complaining to the Queen. Your Majesty, you have to give me an outstanding prince consort, you promised. The Queen looked at the ministers with a headache. What do you all think? They glanced everywhere but at me. We think they're perfect, so perfect. The Colonel personally chose him. How could we object? The Queen patted David's hand. Child, you heard that. It's not that I don't want to help, but even if there's a marriage on Earth, no soldier will be forced. David's face darkened, but he had no argument. There's no way the Oko Star could stand up with Michael around. I made a round among the Federation people. Everyone treated me kindly. Half feared me, half feared Michael. So the most stubborn group grudgingly accepted my identity. Some privately approached me, feigning respect but secretly begging, Lucas, as long as you don't expose me, I'll double your payment. Deal. After collecting several payments, I tried to pull away and exchange intel with Michael. Suddenly, the crowd grew restless. Someone shouted, "It's Michael's pheromone acting up again." No, there's another scent, Omega pheromone. Are the two pheromones intertwined? I can't smell pheromones. But I followed the crowd to find Michael and David physically grappling inside a room. Michael had David pinned, choking him hard, trying to use pheromones to make me rut. "Do you want to die?" David's face was purple and blue, as if choking. "My pheromones can soothe you." Oko Star even developed a gene therapy for pheromone disorder. "If you marry me, all of this will be yours." Suicide. Michael was dangerously unstable. If he squeezed a little harder, David's neck would break. I stopped him. "Michael." I pried his fingers apart and held his trembling body. Usually so rational, under the influence of pheromones he was like a raging beast. He pressed me tightly to his chest, breath heavy and hot. "I'm not a beast. Lucas, don't treat me like a lustful beast." I led Michael away and stayed with him through the 7-day rut. During brief moments of clarity each day, he saw the teeth marks all over me and always apologized with red eyes. I held him back. "It's okay. I'm willing." Michael never blamed me for not smelling his pheromones. I never blamed him for losing control. We trusted and accepted each other. After the 7 days ended, I slid out from under Michael, got dressed, and went to meet David as arranged. "Lucas, you're finally here. I've been waiting a long time. You promised to be my prince consort, and I promised to give you the gene therapy for pheromone disorder. You won't change your mind, right?" "Never." I followed David onto the ship bound for Oko Star. 10. On my first day as prince consort, David tried to seduce me with pheromones. "Sorry, I can't smell pheromones." So he failed. On my second day as prince consort, David tried to coerce me with force. "Sorry, his personal guards weren't enough to intimidate me, unless he brought the entire Oko Star military to overwhelm me with sheer numbers, but David obviously didn't have that authority. Still, he failed. On my third day as prince consort, David tried to drug me. Sorry, if I couldn't detect such poisons or sedatives, I'd have died on missions long ago. Failed again. David finally lost it. "You already agreed. Why won't you let me touch you? I need to have your child." I stirred my glass of gin boredly. "You agreed too. Why haven't you given me the gene therapy?" "Afraid I'll run." David didn't answer, basically conceding. I asked, "Don't you understand me? Don't you trust me?" Under my sincere gaze, David compromised. "It's not that I don't trust you. Then if I give you the gene therapy, you'll marry me and consummate tomorrow." I closed my eyes silently, looking hurt. David got a little anxious. "I really don't distrust you. It's not that I'm afraid you'll run." To appease me, he immediately sent the gene therapy. That same day, I ran ahead. David chased behind. "Didn't you say you wouldn't run?" Dodging stun guns, I asked. "Since when did I say I wouldn't run?" Thinking carefully, I indeed never promised him anything. Everything was just in his head. David was furious. "Increase the dose. You must catch him today. I want to consummate tonight." Unfamiliar with the terrain, I accidentally ran to a cliff's edge. David and his guards closed in step by step. "Lucas, I don't blame you. Come back and consummate willingly." I hesitated. Should I jump off the cliff or keep dealing with David? Suddenly, sharp alarms rang overhead. "Warning, warning, detection, Earth fleet has breached Oko Star's defense grid." Through the misty sky, hundreds of ships appeared. I immediately recognized Michael's ship leading them. Michael hacked into Oko Star's tech network and announced, "Return Lucas immediately, or Oko Star will be destroyed today." In an instant, David received countless warnings from ministers. "What are you doing fighting over a person with Colonel Michael? Return him now. You said to use Lucas to soften Michael. Have a child with Lucas." So even Michael wouldn't dare move rashly, maybe even sneak in and have a child with Michael. But where's the softness now? We're the ones weak in the knees. No more games or schemes. Do it yourself. David was now isolated and frantic, glaring at me and the ship behind me. "You two teamed up to mess with me." Everyone thought an alpha wouldn't go this far for a worthless beta. But alphas aren't beasts, they're humans. Humans have reason, love, hate, and aren't fully controlled by pheromones. They have the right to choose, and the right to love. I shrugged. I didn't coordinate with Michael. I just left him a note. "My plan's behind you." I pointed behind him. David turned and saw his second brother approaching. "I'm no fool. I wouldn't risk myself without preparation. I'd naturally seize any opportunity." The second prince nodded at me. "Payment has been sent. You all betrayed me. David bit the second prince's hand hard. The second prince patted David's head and dragged the struggling David away. Now, I faced Michael's questioning. The ship lowered its ramp. I stepped up slowly. Michael sat on the sofa, staring at me without blinking. I felt guilty. How did you get here? Michael unfolded the note I'd left earlier. It had only 4 words, go and come back. I nodded. I traded with Oko Star's second prince. He gave me intel on gene therapy distribution on other planets. I planned to visit each planet, collect info, and then return. If Michael hadn't come, I probably would have silently left Oko Star and headed to the next planet. Michael frowned. Is this how you take shortcuts? I climbed on his lap without manners. Then how else do you want me to do it? Michael paused as if forgetting what to say. Eyes locked on my V-neck. I hung on his neck. How about this? We take the back way tonight. His Adam's apple bobbed. Okay. Michael is the kind who's easy to please. One kiss and he's not mad. But hard to please too. He won't let me continue undercover on other planets no matter how much I beg. The more I argue, the more spirited he gets. Forget it. Let's just settle tonight's score first. Lucas's extra. 1. I love money. With money, I can live in a big house, not rummaging through trash and slums. With money, I could save my parents who died in an accident. With money, Henry could get the best education and not have to struggle between life and death like me. Whenever rich Omegas show me kindness, I smile with envy. They're just too lucky. They haven't suffered, so they want to follow me through hardship. But sorry, I'm destined to wander. Can't promise any Omega a future. I turned down one Omega after another, until I met Michael. He was so rich it amazed me. More than once I wondered how anyone could be that wealthy. With him, I don't have to do any work, and I'm always taken care of. It feels strange, but I surprisingly enjoy it. Growing up, I always cared for others. Now, people prepare everything for me in advance. Sometimes I wonder if I'm losing my fighting spirit, but Michael has complained more than once. Am I not good enough to you? Why don't you rely on me? Do Omegas cook for you? Massage your legs? Carry your bag? But Omegas don't sleep with me. Isn't he being double-standard? Since childhood, I've had many things I liked and wanted to do. If an Omega was around, I'd prioritize their feelings and ignore myself. But with Michael, I don't have to hide anything. I can be lazy, weak, even spoiled. Sorry. In the end, he completely corrupted me. I decided to love him, and only him. 2. I hate arrogant alphas. I'm grateful I can't smell their filthy, chaotic pheromones. But I regret never having smelled Michael's pheromones. Michael's extra. 1. I admire strength. I've always known that my physical abilities come from the innate gifts of being an alpha, so I never slack off training or improving. Most alphas get complacent and stop trying. I look down on those lazy alphas. I also look down on those whose minds are full only of their Omegas. Until one mission, my team and I got separated in a fog. There, I saw a tall, slender figure moving like a ghost. He wore a black bodysuit, his face wrapped in layers, giving off no scent. He was a beta. He rarely spoke, naturally alert, and when he struck, he was an A-class monster. I was the one who proposed. Team up, Alpha, he said, his voice clearer and gentler than I expected. Alphas are all raging beasts. No teamwork. He rejected my offer. I wanted to argue I'm not a beast, but my pheromone disorder was true. After parting ways, I met him again and asked a second time. Team up. He shook his head. The third time we met, he was facing an S-class monster alone. His hand grabbed my wrist. Team up. He gave off no scent, but when he touched me, he took on my scent. He was stronger than I imagined, killing silently like a natural assassin, but he never showed weakness or cried out, always bearing everything alone. I looked at his bleeding wounds. Why didn't you ask me for help? He coldly replied. No need. I can handle it. I was annoyed, though I didn't know why. 3 days later, when my team regrouped, I realized I forgot to ask if he was alive, and I forgot to arrange a fight with him, but he had already disappeared for the mission. I wanted to fight him but never did. That must be why I was annoyed. I searched everywhere for information about him, fought one beta after another, knocking them all out with a single punch. Not him, not him, none were him. I should have asked him for a fight sooner, without worrying if he was injured. 3 years passed. On Earth, a beta was rated A-class, the only A-class beta. That had to be him. I contacted a headhunter and asked, what does he want most? Money. Money? Perfect. Money's the one thing I never lack. I paid handsomely to get Lucas here, planning to finish what we never started. Lucas wore casual clothes, his face fresh and his steps steady. For some reason, My heart raced the moment I saw him. I wanted to ask, "Do you remember me?" He immediately lifted his shirt. I saw the dense scars covering his chest and waist, and a strange feeling spread inside me. Suddenly, I didn't want to fight him anymore. I just wanted to find him. I just missed him. I just blamed him for always craving progress, for never stopping to stay in one place. I blamed him for being consumed by missions, not by me. I was falling. I buried my face in his chest. At that moment, my feelings became clear. I wanted to sleep with him. Unexpectedly, Lucas seemed to read my thoughts and quietly urged, "Can you hurry up, hurry up?" Well then, I wouldn't be polite, too. My lover is a beta. He can't smell my pheromones, can't sense any of my emotions, but it doesn't matter. I love him.